idea behind fat loss. I want to talk about fat shortly, what it
until we have that cramp glucose more efficient. Now, let me just 39 until we have that crampy, bloated, gassy, uncomfortable feeling. That's our body, our gut telling us there's something wrong in the neighborhood of those 39 trillion bacteria living in our cecum, which is really the final part of our colon. And the thing that is really remarkable is what these gut bacteria do for us when it comes to our metabolism. Well, we're just beginning to peel back the layers of the onion to discover how important gut health is for our metabolism. For example, we know that a properly functioning neighborhood ecosystem of gut bacteria, our microbiome, as we know, actually makes our body's ability to use insulin and to absorb glucose more efficient. Now, let me just put that in the context for your listeners in terms of something that they probably have heard about, but maybe didn't connect with gut health. So every time we eat food, we put it in our mouth, our pancreas releases a hormone called insulin. And that insulin, combined with the food that we've absorbed through our stomach into our bloodstream, draws the energy into our cells so that we're actually able to use that energy from the food we eat in order to power our body. Now, our gut bacteria actually helps to contribute to how smooth that process is. When our gut bacteria is unhealthy, the ecosystem is disturbed. Think about how easy it is to disturb a beautiful pond in your backyard. If you were to take a gallon of dish soap and just start pouring it into the pond, you're going to start poisoning some of the tadpoles and the frogs and the natural wildlife there, and the pond is not going to be healthy. That's basically what happens when we consume things like diet sodas. It's been shown now that many of those artificial sweeteners, non-nutritive sweeteners, when we consume them, alter our gut microbiome. They change the neighborhood. And how do we know that this actually has an impact on our metabolism? We know this from clinical studies because, ironically, even though people drink diet sodas so they don't gain weight with sugar, ironically, many people do gain weight if they consume enough diet soda. So if you poison your gut microbiome sufficiently and you disrupt your metabolism sufficiently, even though you're having, quote, diet soda, that's just a name on the can. The reality is that we're actually changing the biology in our body in such a way that our body's actually going to start to grow body fat and use our food, our fuel source, much less efficiently. So many other things can actually disturb our gut health as well. Antibiotics, which are so commonly prescribed, overprescribed perhaps might be the right word to say in many societies. I think that overconsumption of alcohol can clearly interfere with your gut microbiome. Ultra-processed foods, all those things. Back to reading the ingredient label, that we don't do enough. I mean, honestly, it's not a big deal to pick up something that you might put in your shopping cart, but just take a moment before it goes in to turn the box to the side and look at what's actually inside it. If you don't recognize those ingredients, if you can't pronounce them, think, are these ingredients potentially impacting my gut health, my gut microbiome? And if so, could that have an adverse effect on my metabolism? That is something that we should all be thinking about as we just cruise through the shopping, through the supermarket, putting things into our cart.
Yeah, it really speaks to, I think, this idea behind fat loss. I want to talk about fat shortly, what it is, why it's not as harmful maybe as it's been made out to be. You make a very compelling case for the benefits of fat, which I think is really, really nuanced, very, very important for us to understand. But there is this prevailing view out there in society that it is